A lot of the representations in kind of the mass media and in the tabloids especially look for kind of an ultra-feminine kind of appearance and are really looking for a certain representation of women which is non-threatening and which doesn't challenge heterosexism or homophobia.
We had this teacher at our school, right? Miss Drew, she taught us history. She used to wear men's trousers and have really short grey hair. We used to call her Dykey Drew.
I felt really angry about it because they held this fictional character up as something to be ridiculed. You know, this is what lesbians look like and this is what we don't want to look like.
You don't think that I'm like that, do you, this Miss Dykey Drew?
No.
Well then, neither of us are.
Beth Jordache as a fantasy figure, as a celluloid image, is erotic, is alluring.
And it's safe enough.
And it's safe, exactly. Beth Jordache, if she was a real person, sat in a club with these women, would not necessarily get the same reception
Absolutely
at all,
not.
as we know from our own experience, really.
Certainly.
She would probably...
I'd be surprised if she actually got past the door
Yeah.
in some clubs.
If she had shaved hair and bobber boots and, you know, the donkey jacket or whatever we all imagine lesbians to look like, I think the killing of her father and her sexual abuse story and, you know, all the other different things that have happened in the programme with her would be read so differently. And I think she would not be a sympathetic character.
She's shown that it isn't wrong to be gay, and that's one of the biggest messages we wanted to go through. And she's the most unlikely person you'd expect, because most people think, oh, big butch lesbians with Doc Martens and skinheads and things. And no, she isn't that. She's the average girl on her clothes. Well, not the average girl on the clothes, is she?
There are differences between having visibility and having empowerment, and that it's important to look at the differences between those. Just the fact that lesbians are splashed across the headlines or are appearing in quite a few television programmes at the moment does not mean that anything has changed for lesbians outside of those arenas. We're seeing a very limited aspect and reportage based on fictional characters.
How can the print this stuff? It's disgusting.
Because they're the scum of the earth, aren't they? And they don't give a toss about who they hate just as long as they sell papers.
Gay love secret of murder suspect Beth. And I wonder which one of our lovely neighbours gave him this little snippet.
Because Beth Jordache is a lesbian character, it means that men can fantasise about her in lesbian scenarios. But because Anna Friel is a heterosexual woman, they can then mentally insert themselves into the scenario and feel totally unthreatened by it. It's quite interesting what they've done in Loaded here. She's put herself in the clothes of classic personas of strong, assertive and instantly recognisable fictional presentations of sexy women.
Some of the tabloids got hold of the pictures and just stuck me when having a pair of stockings and suspenders on. And it was just Anna Friel. They didn't say I was posing as Liza Minnelli, and people who hadn't seen Loaded are going, God, that's a bit tacky. What's she doing that for?
Lovely. Hold it there.
The teen mags like her because they've done it for me, Anna Friel, Babe, which was fine, you know, it's quite flattering and things, but it was also the kind of babe with brains, because if you look at Beth, you know, it wasn't just the average bimbo with big breasts and blonde hair and whatever. She had guts, she stood for what she believed in. I think people liked that, they admired that. And then there was the nice light-hearted babe bit for the guys and girls out there.
Lovely.
You keep seeing, you know, pictures of her and her boyfriends. She's like a dolly girl, and you keep seeing her sort of in dresses, stressing, you know, that she's not gay.
They'll say to me, so, are you gay yourself? And you'll say, no. And then they'll put the headline of, I'm not gay. You know, they take a little tiny fraction of the piece and make it a headline, and you have no control over that whatsoever.
There was one in Live and Kicking. She was all decked out in a kind of
baby doll dress and little sandals, and I thought that the image was very much like a sexualised child, if you like, bearing in mind that she's a survivor of child abuse. That I find that really quite disturbing.
I'd heard this rumour, because I had a few contacts in Brookside anyway, that they were going to have a lesbian and it was going to be Beth Jordache, and everyone was just at the time going, oh no, terrible, terrible, how can they have it as Beth, you know, oh God, all these stereotypes and awful images of, you know, these ideas of people who've been abused, and everyone's going to think, that's why she's a lesbian.
Your dad's still managing to ruin your life, isn't he?
No. It's got nothing to do with him. My life's brilliant, honest.
When the most popular soap lesbian is also a survivor of sexual abuse, then that really is skating on thin ice. It's a high-risk strategy. But for many survivors, Beth has punched a hole through a wall of invisibility and denial. Lesbian and survivor. Now, that's a television first.
You're not really a lesbian. This is just a reaction to what your father did.
No, it's not.
I can understand that. Any mother could. I mean, he raped you. He made you hate men.
I don't hate men.
Any girl would be put off men after what you went through, but this thing is unnatural.
If you connect being a lesbian and sexual abuse, you're pathologizing being a lesbian. You're saying it's coming out of a catastrophic event around your sexuality.
My feelings are the most natural I've ever known.
I think that diminishes the fact that it is possible to make that choice and to be very grounded in it and to understand it as something that defines for you what you feel.
But I feel content with myself. And for once in my life, I'm not fighting against it. I'm a lesbian, and you have to accept that. I want you to love me whatever I am.
My own abuse wasn't from the father, but I think one of the most positive things about Beth's portrayal is her strength and her determination. It's like she's now found out who she is, what she believes, and what she really thinks about the abuse and the rape, and she's got a sense of strength from that and determination that no matter what anybody else says or thinks or does, she knows who she is and where she's coming from and where she's going.
Keep away from me.
Love, I want to...
Leave me alone and leave Mum alone.
Beth, I want to explain to you that...
Leave us alone and get out of this house.
Will you listen to what I'm saying, Beth?
You should be locked up. You should be in prison.
And she seems to be too much in control. Survivors aren't this nervous wreck that you see portrayed on some programmes, but we do have good days, we have bad days. We have the problems of day-to-day life when our abusers contact us, or a memory comes up. You haven't seen Beth wake up in the middle of the night with a cold sweat.
Get out, or I'll call the police.
No, love.
Get out!